everyone, Shabba Gamer here, and welcome back to our next episode of the WWE 2K16 Universe Mode, and this is our next episode of Nitro. Now, we are just 4 weeks away from our next pay-per-view for Nitro, which is going to be shared with Thunder. So Nitro and Thunder sharing the Elimination Chambers. That's going to be a hell of a pay-per-view, that one. And that also tells you what the main event is going to be as well. So we are... well, I already decided the 6 people that are going to be in that Elimination Chamber. And I can tell you right now, we're going to have Brock Lesnar defending against Hideo Itami, Kevin Owens, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, and Shinsuke Nakamura. I was going to do qualifying matches, but in fairness, those are the 6 best guys on the roster, and those are the 6 guys that I want to see inside that cell anyway. And as you can see, we do have a couple of feuds lined up for you this month as well. So let's have a quick look at the card I've got set for you this evening. We are going to start things off with a brand new television champion that is Neville, taking on Kenny Omega. We're going to see Tyson Kidd taking on William Regal. Lex Luger takes on Rusev. Alberto Del Rio takes on Chris Jericho in a rivalry match as well. We're going to see Kane versus Jake the Snake Roberts. We've got a triple threat between Diamond Dallas Page, Ric Flair, and one of the men in that Elimination Chamber, Samoa Joe. And then our main event this evening will be our Nitro champion, Brock Lesnar, taking on the Cult of Personality, CM Punk. So we are just going to watch 3 matches in this episode because I need to try and get this one done a bit quicker than normal. So we're going to watch just the 2 rivalry matches in the main event, I think. So we're going to skip Tyson Kidd versus Regal, which is a big win for Kidd, that one. Luger versus Rusev was a win for Rusev. Kane versus Roberts was a win for Kane. And the triple threat match was a win for Ric Flair over Samoa Joe. Now, Joe's on a bit bad run of form recently. He got absolutely decimated in the main event of Backlash by Brock Lesnar, and losing here again this evening. So without further ado, let's get into our opening match of the evening, Neville versus Omega. And there is confirmation there of this first match. As I just said, Neville versus Kenny Omega. Neville, the 2-time television champion in this universe mode now. And here we go, Miami, Florida. It's a bit more of a interesting place to have a show. We've had quite a lot in Chicago of recent, but I don't recall having one in Miami, Florida for a while, so it'd be nice to have a new one here. Of course, Neville won the television championship for the 2nd time in this universe mode, defeating Hideo Itami at Backlash. And I have changed the name of the championship again, and it keeps reverting back to custom. Oh my god. This game is just incredible. It really is. It just takes all the things you would expect from a game and just strips them all away sometimes. It really does. Frustrates the life out of me. It really does. But we get the idea. Neville's the television champion. I'm going to have to change that again after this episode. TV title name. So I've written that down in my book to do after this episode. But Neville's going to take on a very difficult combatant here in the shape of Kenny Omega. Only debuted here in Nitro a few weeks back now, helping the Young Bucks win those tag team championships away from Blake and Murphy. Of course, the Young Bucks actually lost those tag team championships yesterday at Backlash, losing them to Red Dragon. And here is Kenny Omega, Kenny the Cleaner, a man that I would love to see in WWE at some point. I never really got Kenny Omega. I watched him quite a bit here and there. He had a few fleeting appearances for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, which is a company I like to watch a lot of. And I never really understood it. And then all of a sudden now, I think since he's gone to this sort of darker style character, it just makes so much sense now. Because beforehand he was, especially in PWG, PWG's different I suppose. You've got to be a bit more entertaining in PWG. That's the whole point of PWG. But since he took on this darker persona over in New Japan, it just suits him so much. And I really want to watch the match he had recently against Michael Elgin, a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Apparently it was absolutely top level, and New Japan's putting out some cracking matches this year. Apparently the matches between Ricochet and Will Ospreay, and is it Kushida and Will Ospreay as well, both apparently absolutely fantastic matches that I'll have to try and get a hold of at some point and watch them, because well, New Japan's been absolutely top level for matches over the last few years anyway, but this year they seem to have gone just that one step further on, I think. And I'd be interested to see how this match goes. I'm not quite sure if Omega and Neville ever met on the indie scene. I should imagine they probably did. But you never know, I suppose, do you? Really could have gone either way. But both these guys together, having a little bit of a rivalry potentially for the television championship, I think is going to be a great way forward for us. There's a great normal like suplex on the outside by Kenny Omega as well. So the Young Bucks will be looking to try and get some retribution, try and get those tag team championships back, but I think they're going to have to earn that right to have that match. I'm thinking maybe do something we did very similar in Thunder a few weeks back, or a few months back now it was maybe, where we did a couple of Fatal 4-Way matches and we had one member from each of a tag team in one set of Fatal 4-Way, and then one member of the other member of the tag team in the other Fatal 4-Way, and then from that we deciphered our number 1 contender. I'm thinking we've probably got 8 tag teams on this roster, so maybe we could do like a Fatal 4-Way one week with 4 individuals, and then the week after another Fatal 4-Way, and pit the 2 teams against each other to gain that number 1 contendership. The match is not going to take place at Elimination Chamber, of course. It looks like Elimination Chamber we are going to be going with Neville versus Omega, and more than likely Jericho versus Del Rio. A good chance Jericho versus Del Rio to get a couple of guys on this show that we don't normally use, so that's the good thing about having the Elimination Chamber. And of course Hogan's going to have to defend that, well, not necessarily. Of course we are going to see Hogan taking on Matanza Cueto for that Thunder Championship in a couple of weeks' time at Money in the Bank. And Neville running straight into the turnbuckle there. Kenny Omega with the Northern Light suplex once again. Now just stamping on the back of the arm of Neville. And I think SmackDown was very unhappy with Neville winning that television championship last night, because they really wanted to bring Neville in to help take their cruiserweight division to the next level. But of course, when Neville's the championship, when Neville is the champion, should I say, it's very difficult for SmackDown to try and organise a deal to take him away from this roster. I don't think it's going to happen until Neville does lose this championship, and that could be some time. So I'm going to imagine that SmackDown may have to look elsewhere. Standing corkscrew moonsault there by Neville. In for the pin he goes, dead centre of the ring on Kenny Omega. Oh, almost a 3 count already. Great running dropkick there by Neville. Now stalking the ground, and Omega rolls him over. And a kick in the back as well, just for good measure. Bringing Omega back up to his feet, now sends him into the cornbuckle. That's a mixture of a corner and a turnbuckle there, the cornbuckle. Also sounds a little bit rude at the same time. Reverse dragon sleeper hold there by Neville. Both of these guys worked extensively in Japan, so they really have that extra style about them. Both spent a lot of time practicing in the dojos. And there's Omega, dragon suplex, bridges for the pin. 1, 2, oh, it's a 2 count. Neville kicked out. Omega almost still in the victory. Omega looking annoyed here, just throwing the top off the announce table, actually taking the screens away as well. Omega looking to try and potentially try and turn this one around a bit, and he's been caught. He catches Neville straight away up against that announce table, and Omega taking Neville up on that announce table, joins him up there. What has Omega got planned here? Takes him up. A fisherman's Michinoku driver through the announce table. And what an incredible way to start this episode. See, if Omega had left Neville on the floor, he might have won this one by countout. Referee gets to a 7 count. Neville makes his way back in the ring. He's struggling a little bit, but gets straight around the back of Omega, catches him with a German suplex, and Neville fighting like nothing's happened. Omega with a big knee to the face, straight into the pin here on Neville. 1, 2. It's only a 2 count. Omega, big elbow to the top of the head of Neville. And now Omega's going up top. We expect Neville to be going up top, but it looks like Omega's going to have a go. What's he got planned? Though Neville rolls out the way. Clever move there by Neville. Managing to avoid that impending attack there by Omega. Omega bringing Neville back into the middle of the ring. Big knee to the gut, and follows it up with a Faymaster. Rolling Neville over, and again Omega looks to go up top. What does he have planned here, Omega? He's already put Neville through the announce table. One big hit here could be enough. 450 splash into the pin. Referee's very slowed down, but Omega could pick up the victory here over Neville. Oh, and Neville kicked out on the brink of 3. Wow, that was close, that was. Very, very close. But Omega's looking in a very, very strong position here. And surely it's got to be a matter of time before he finishes off the television champion Neville here. Omega just wrenching back at Neville's neck. Neville back up to his feet quickly, but Omega catches him straight away up onto his shoulders. Rolls through. Just kicking in the gut. Again, bringing Neville back up to his feet and takes him up into a gutbuster. Kenny Omega is taunting the grounded Neville now. Maybe not the wisest thing to do, Omega. You need to pin him. You don't want to taunt the guy. Omega's back up. Takes Neville up. Fisherman's Michinoku driver. Now that has got to be the move that finishes off Neville here. And it is. Kenny Omega picks up the free count over the television champion Neville and instantly makes himself a #1 contender for the television championship. Wow. We're going to have ourselves a cracking match here at Elimination Chamber by the looks of it. Both these guys have potential to possibly be in the Elimination Chamber, but for me, I think this match was inevitable to happen. Of course, with Curtis Axel, if you're not seeing Backlash, Curtis Axel has been drafted across to SmackDown. We had a draft steel match. We changed the format slightly. We did Curtis Axel versus Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. The winner would bring the loser to their brand. Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig got the pin, and he took Curtis Axel to SmackDown with him. Axel was one of the guys we were really considering for a #1 contender for this television championship as well, but Kenny Omega has earned himself that right now here by defeating Neville, and quite convincingly as well, I would say. Some big moves. He hit that 450, he hit the Dragon Suplex, he hit the Michinoku driver, the Fisherman's Michinoku driver, and of course the Fisherman's Michinoku driver through the announce table as well. And there's the big move there by Kenny Omega, which was enough to hold down Neville for the free count. So a massive win here for Omega. Confirms himself as the #1 contender for the television championship. And he's going to have to wait a few weeks to get that opportunity, but I'm sure if he continues to build up the momentum, it's going to be his, surely. And here is the rivalry update. So as you can see, Neville already had a momentum boost going into that match. Has become more bold, perseverant and prideful from that. Don't know why he lost, but there we go. And Kenny Omega's gained himself a momentum boost and a hot streak now. Became more prideful from that one. And yeah, that's a good result for Kenny Omega. That's given him a nice momentum boost as well as actually defeating the champion as well and becoming the #1 contender. And here is match number 2. It's going to be Alberto Del Rio taking on Chris Jericho. And here we go. We're still in Miami, Florida, so the game's doing well, unless that's really that could really be lucky, or that could be the truth. What I'm saying is sometimes we have in the universe mode quite often as well, is the game liking to change the location of a certain match in a card. Even though the card all takes place in the same card, it tries to change the location of each match. It's really annoying. Really annoying. But we seem to be okay at the moment. So Del Rio, another one of the guys that next year will be actually on 2K17. Or this year, shall I say, will be on 2K17. So that's pretty good to know. Again, it's one less created wrestler we'll have to download. I've been through this before. Of course, we've got Del Rio. I'm pretty sure I'll have AJ Styles. If we say Gallows and Anderson as being optimistic. Nakamura, Austin Aries, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Bayley, Asuka, Nia Jax, American Alpha, Apollo Crews. So those are just a few of the names I expect to be added to the roster this year. And that's 15 people that we've currently got downloaded as created wrestlers. So that's 15 extra spaces for creative wrestlers we're going to have next year, which is pretty good. Although with the recent news that we are having the drafts coming up soon, there has been a lot of talk of WWE reaching out to former talents to bring them in. Guys along the lines of Rey Mysterio, MVP, who else was on that list? Jeff Hardy, gutted. Can't stand the guy. Kurt Angle, but that's been confirmed as not going to happen. So there's quite a few names on there that we might see come back, and obviously that's a few created wrestlers we will have to download. I'm wondering if some people like Mr. Anderson might be with a shout, or the Great Khali seems to come in and out quite a bit. So there's no reason why they couldn't bring him in, because of course the new game's going to come out soon. They might as well hire him back and get some free advertising over in India. Always seems to work. Yeah, but I'm sure there's quite a few. There's going to be quite a few people coming in, which I don't know if I'm happy about or not. I am happy because it's nice to see these guys come back and get some more time in the WWE. But at the same time, you've got so many fantastic young wrestlers now. By bringing back guys like MVP, you're taking up space on the card that could be used by other people. NXT's done such a fantastic job developing all these talents, and if you're going to be having a possibility where you're going to need to use quite a lot of these extra talents, then they're already there. They're pre-made. They're at such a high level at the moment. The crowd are behind nearly every single person there. Bar, of course, what's her name? Eva Marie. Who I've not seen for a very long time, Eva Marie. I don't know if she's injured or if they've just given up on her again. Eva Marie is essentially the female Roman Reigns. The one that WWE tried to push that nobody really likes. So I wonder who's going to come out on top of this match. It's a good match. I like the idea of having this feud because it's two guys that we've not really used so far in this universe mode. I know Jericho has a lot of fans out there. And Del Rio has some fans out there as well. I quite like Del Rio. I think he's better as a face than he is as a heel, though, to tell the truth. I think his face work is a lot better than his heel. Then again, he always gets over as a really hated heel, so he probably is very good at both, I should imagine. Thinking about it logically. As this match spills to the outside very quickly. We've already got a brand new announce table set up for this one. We don't want to end up losing it again. Jericho there with a bulldog on the outside. Slides back into the ring. The referee's up to a 6 count, and Jericho looking to get an early win here by count out. They all count. Del Rio's back in. Del Rio now hooking Jericho in. Clever move that. He hooked the arm behind the back of Jericho, then dropped him on the arm as well, and that weakens the arm for a potential arm breaker later on. And again, you see Del Rio work on that arm once again. Jericho fighting back there with that forearm and a second forearm and a chop as well. Jericho taking Del Rio up and down into a powerbomb. And now Jericho's going up high. Of course, Jericho started his career as a high flyer, won the cruiserweights over in WCW. Went for the diving elbow, but you can see cruiserweight division has very much left him by now as Del Rio rolls out the way and Jericho lands hard on the ground. Jawbreaker by Jericho now boots the gut of Del Rio and a right hand as well. Del Rio taking Jericho down. Oh, a big kick to the calf, and that's a vicious move, and I think that may have peed off Jericho more than it really affected him. Jericho now sending Del Rio into the corner. Jericho taking Del Rio up high as well. Dangerous move here. This could really end up being something bad. Jericho has Del Rio up. And Jericho brings Del Rio down. Superplex. Into the pin he goes. Referee makes the count. 1, 2. It's only enough for a 2 count. Jericho now bringing Del Rio back up. But Del Rio with that stiff right hand to the kidneys of Jericho. Now into an arm breaker as well. Again, still working on the arm. And that's a clever move by Del Rio because should he be able to lock in that cross arm bar, it's greatly going to help him out and reverse Dragon Sleeper. But you can see he's also just wrenching back the arm on the other side as well. Del Rio now sending Jericho into the corner. Went to follow it with a clothesline, but Jericho reversed with the back elbow. Now Jericho sending Del Rio into the corner. Taking Del Rio up and dropping him into the snake eyes. Jericho bringing Del Rio back up to his feet. Takes him down, and the match between the two submission specialists, it looks like Jericho's going to be the first one to lock his in. Referee does a fantastic job there for Jericho by blocking Del Rio away from the ropes. And Jericho forced to break the hold. maybe the damage done to the arm of Jericho by Del Rio is enough to make it a bit too difficult for him to hold that move for too long. Jericho's going to go for the pin, hoping that he's taken enough life out of Del Rio, but he hasn't. It's still only enough for a 2. Jericho now big elbow to the forehead of Del Rio. And again now bringing Del Rio back up to his feet. Front chancery now taking Del Rio against these ropes. Sending him over the top of the ropes. Jericho joining Del Rio on the outside. This could get dangerous here for Del Rio. Spiked DDT. Del Rio looks down. Jericho bringing him back up to his feet, but Del Rio catching that kick and tripping Jericho over. Now locking him into a half Boston Crab. And Del Rio trying to use some of Jericho's own maneuvers against him. Of course, that was only a half Boston Crab. Jericho's Walls of Jericho is a full Boston Crab. Big boot to the side of the head of Jericho there by Del Rio as well. Del Rio now bringing Jericho back up to his feet. Spins him round. There's the backstabber. Can Del Rio fall into a pin? Here he does. 1, 2. It's only enough for a 2 count. Jericho kicks out. Del Rio can't believe it. I think Del Rio needs an impact finish as well, because a cross armbar is going to be difficult for him, because we know how bad submission finishes are in this game, which is why Del Rio never really gets a lot of coverage on the game. Del Rio now taking Jericho up onto that top turnbuckle. Jericho fights back and he's going to go for another top rope maneuver. This time he lands it at crossbody. Jericho doing laps around Del Rio. Now goes to the outside. What's Jericho got planned here? Looking for I think he was looking for some sort of springboard there, but Del Rio crawling away, forcing Jericho's hand. Jericho comes back into the ring now, rolling Del Rio over and stamping on the back of the leg. And now you see Jericho trying to work down some of the body parts of Del Rio as well, now stamping on the back of the arm. And you'd think Jericho would work more on the back and the legs of Del Rio, going for a potential Walls of Jericho. And he does roll him over, this time in a much better ring positioning. Is it going to be enough? It's not, still not going to be enough. And I still wish 2K would change it so nobody ever just released their finisher, because it makes no sense. You should either be able to reverse it or get a rope break. Pinned now by Jericho. He's yet to take all the life out of Del Rio. Del Rio carries on. Jericho now with the elbow to the top of the head of Del Rio. Jericho hands on hips, trying to decide what to do next. It's not a... Oh, here we go. It looks to be lining Del Rio up. Is he potentially going to go for a code breaker? He does go for a code breaker. Del Rio drops. Jericho into the pin. 1, 2, and oh, Del Rio kicked out. Del Rio kicked out. Wow. How is this match still going on? I can't believe it. Both these guys really giving their all here today. Jericho now spins Del Rio around middle of the ring. What's he going to go for here? A big knee to the side of the head of Del Rio. Russian leg sweep by Del Rio now on Jericho. Del Rio trying to get back into this one. Bringing Jericho back up to his feet. And he locks in the cross armbar. He's done some damage to that arm. We don't normally see submission victories on this game, but with the amount of damage that Del Rio's done, maybe this could be one. No, it's not. Straight away Jericho taking Del Rio up into a butterfly backbreaker. Now that's the sort of move we expect to see from Jericho. The move that's going to damage the back for a potential Walls of Jericho. There's the elbow drop into the pin. 1, 2, and 3. And there we go. Chris Jericho picks up the win in what was a very good match here against Alberto Del Rio. Very good match indeed. And at the end of the match, you see Jericho offering out a handshake against Del Rio. Del Rio's having none of it. That's sort of what you expect from Del Rio, though. It's not his cup of tea. And this match is over and done with. And here is the rivalry update. Rising tensions. Del Rio's frustration is growing after losing to Chris Jericho. As you can see by the rejecting a handshake, Del Rio's now on a cold streak, which means he must have come into this feud with a loss in the books as well. And Jericho's gained himself a hot streak and a momentum boost. He'll be very happy with that. And here we go into our main event here this evening. It is going to be our Nitro champion Brock Lesnar. After a very successful championship defense last night against Samoa Joe, tonight he's taking on CM Punk. And here we go. Wow, a full episode and we're in the same location every single time. That's not very often that happens. And here comes your Nitro champion Brock Lesnar. Absolutely demolished Samoa Joe last night. Just Joe didn't really get going at all. It was all about Lesnar. And Lesnar this evening will be looking to do the same thing here against CM Punk, because he knows he's going into that Elimination Chamber in 4 weeks' time. He knows that last night he defeated one of the guys quite easily. He's already defeated Kevin Owens quite easily to win the belt. So he knows he can defeat two of the guys in there quite easily. The third guy is going to be taken on here this evening in the shape of CM Punk. And I'm sure as the month goes on, he will be facing off against the others as well. Of course, he did actually lose to Hideo Itami a few weeks back as well. So Hideo Itami must be mentally sitting quite happy. And Hideo Itami must be sat there thinking, how on earth has he pulled this one off? He was the television champion. He lost the belt last night. And instantly, he's been named as one of the 6 competitors inside the Elimination Chamber for the Nitro Championship. So Hideo must be very happy with his situation. Lesnar just struts around the ring now. Showing exactly what this man can do. We know what he can do. He's an absolute beast. But this evening he's going to have to face off against CM Punk. I don't think we're going to see Lesnar again in the WWE. He might make an appearance on that live episode of SmackDown to be drafted. I would imagine he might do that. But apart from that, of course, he is currently booked in at the... he's currently booked in to fight in UFC 200, I believe it is. So he's going to be out. He's probably training for that right now, so he's going to be out for a while. And I think he's scheduled to make his return around about the Survivor Series sort of time. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if he will be branded or not, or whether they might leave it until he comes to return and then have the 2 brands fight it out for his signature. That's something we could possibly do as well. If we have sort of like a big name that we want to bring into the universe, maybe we can have all the 4 brands compete for his signature. Why not? Maybe someone like I'm trying to think of someone big now. Someone that would warrant this sort of thing. There is no one else like a Brock Lesnar, really, is there? Everyone who could be like that we've already got in the game. My mind is eluding me right now who we could use. But anyway, here we go in our main event. Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk. The winner of this one's not going to gain anything but pride and, of course, momentum moving forward to that Elimination Chamber in a few weeks' time at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. And it's going to be interesting for Thunder, because Thunder's already had 2 Elimination Chambers in this universe mode, and we're only 3 months in. They had Elimination Chamber on the very first episode of Thunder to crown their first Thunder champion, and they had an Elimination Chamber and Thunder invades Lucha Underground to crown the #1 contender, Matanza Cueto, who's going to get that match against Hulk Hogan at Money in the Bank in a couple of weeks' time. So remember, we do have another pay-per-view coming up for you this weekend as well. That is going to be the Cruiserweight, the Global Cruiserweight Championship finale pay-per-view. That's going to be coming up for you this Saturday. The next episode, well, the semi-final episode will be uploaded on Wednesday. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. And that's one of the reasons why we'll be doing a bit shorter episodes this week, probably 3 matches on each show, just so I can make sure that I get ahead of myself and get all these videos recorded so we get them uploaded on time, because I'm away in a couple of weeks as well, and I want to try and get enough videos recorded for that sort of time as well. But enough of my first world problems, I suppose. I'm doing well so far though, because it is now 7 o'clock on a Saturday, and so far today I've recorded 6 episodes of Fallout 4, I've recorded 6 episodes of Football Manager, and now I'm going to try and record 3 or 4 episodes of WWE today as well, which is going to be a day of basically me just sitting on my ass in front of a computer talking all day. Which is basically how I like to do things, I suppose. Lesnar rolling free away from Punk. Now catches him looking for that suplex, but Punk reverses into almost like a hip toss. Big kick to the back of Brock Lesnar. And I think throughout this next month we probably are going to be just mixing and matching with quite a few guys from the Elimination Chamber, just to try and see exactly how they get on and just try and see who's got the upper hand on who, because it'll be very rock, paper, scissors inside that cell, I would imagine. Because we know that Hideo can beat Lesnar, Lesnar can beat Joe, maybe Joe can beat Hideo. And then all of a sudden you've got this whole triangle of what ifs and what could happen, and obviously we don't know exactly who is going to be entering the cell in what order, so entering first could be a big disadvantage for someone like Brock Lesnar. I can still see, I think out of everyone, I think Lesnar's probably one of the only guys that could probably walk in at number 1 against these 6 guys and still walk out with the championship. Great DDT through the bottom rope there by CM Punk. Punk now bringing Lesnar back up to his feet, and Lesnar catching the leg of Punk and just trips him over, and now lock it in a knee bar. Knee bar, knee bar. Referee's up to a 4 count, and Lesnar just hoping to cause Punk so many problems with walking that he has to stay outside. Lesnar now slides back in the ring as referee gets up to a 5 count. Please don't do this. I know, it's good, it's good. I thought we were going to get in that horrible situation where they get stuck with one person going out, one person coming in, one person going out, one person coming in. That's really annoying when that happens. And again, Lesnar moves the fight to the outside. Referee starts his count once again. Lesnar, big right hand on Punk. Went for the boot to the gut. Punk caught the boot, but Lesnar pushes it away, and Lesnar catches CM Punk into a German suplex. Punk fights free with a back elbow, sending Lesnar into the barricade. And a fisherman suplex on the outside by Punk as well. Referee up to a 4 count. Punk bringing Lesnar back up to the feet. Both guys slide back into the ring as referee's count gets to a 5 again. Lesnar spinning Punk round. This match has been quite an even one. There's a standing Kimura lock by Lesnar on Punk. Just wrenching back of that arm. Punk with a right hand to the gut of Lesnar. Lesnar now backbreaker. And another backbreaker as well. Lesnar bringing Punk back up to his feet. Gets around the back of him. There's a German. Hold his grip. I've seen this before. The second of the German suplexes. Holds the grip. And there's the trifecta. Punk is in some serious trouble now. Lesnar in for the pin. 1, 2. It's only a 2 count. We've seen him keep men down with that triple suplex. But Punk has still got enough left in the tank to get back up to his feet. Spins Lesnar around. Punk with a reverse sort of backbreaker there, just bringing Lesnar down right across his knee. Now Punk's going up top. You know he likes to utilise the Macho Man elbow. And he hits it perfectly. And CM Punk going in for the pin here. What would this mean for Lesnar if Punk could pin him? Oh, Lesnar kicked out on the brink of 3. God, that was close, that was. That was very close. Punk now sending Lesnar into the turnbuckle. Follows him up with a knee to the back. Punk taking his time here. Probably shouldn't be because Lesnar's back up to his feet. And a little meat of the eyes there in the middle. And it was Lesnar just taking Punk straight up on his shoulders and dropping him in the F5. That's why CM Punk, you should never stop paying attention to Lesnar. You should stay on him at all times because he's just going to do that to you and pin you for the free count. So the Nitro champion Brock Lesnar is victorious here over one of the guys he will be meeting in 4 weeks' time inside the Elimination Chamber. However, just because he won here does not mean he's going to win in 4 weeks' time. As I said earlier on, the combination of who's in the ring first, who gets the last entry, who gets hit by who creeps up behind who. There's just so many variables that could happen in this Elimination Chamber that anybody could walk out there with the championship. Like, I'm going to say that probably the weakest person going in there is Hideo Itami, and that says something since Hideo Itami actually defeated Brock Lesnar a few weeks back himself. So, this is going to be a crazy one, it really is. There was Punk there with the Macho Man elbow. Went in for the pin, almost tried to get a free count himself, but it wasn't quite enough to keep the big man down for the free. And then you see Lesnar just taking Punk up and taking Punk down in the F5, and had enough time to pull Punk away from the ropes and roll him over and get the pin for the 3 count. So that is going to be the end of this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, then please do hit that like button. It does really help me out. And of course, if you are new around here, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well for a lot more WWE 2K16 Universe Mode and other bits and bobs as well. As I said, our next Nitro pay-per-view is in 4 weeks' time. That's going to be Elimination Chamber. We've already got the match set of Lesnar defending his belt against CM Punk, Hideo Itami, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura. So keep an eye on this channel for that match. It's going to be a cracker, it really is. Yeah, so I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for our next episode of Tuesday Night Raw.